Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. Max Bowen once again flying solo. And for this episode, I am very, very excited to welcome the band Western Education. I've been a fan of this band for a long time, and with their new album Millennial Youth, I gotta say, they're hitting a brand new height for their music. Joining me are band members Greg Alexandropoulos and Will Hunt to talk all about the origins of Millennial Youth and the stories told through the songs. As Curtis would say, Citywide Blackout starts right now.
Welcome to Citywide Blackout with your hosts, Max Bowen and Curtis Hughes. With years of experience in journalism, music, and entertainment business, they put their knowledge to work, bringing you the best in-depth, fun, and sometimes outrageously bizarre interviews with authors, musicians, and many other creators from around the world. With the right amount of gusto and a few F-bombs thrown in for emphasis, you're sure to have a good time. So put up your feet, grab a beverage, and let's go.
Okay, Will, Greg, man, I am so happy to be diving into the new album Millennial Youth because I've listened to this thing something like 4 times, and I gotta say, I think it is your best creation yet.
Wow, thank you so much. That's really awesome to hear.
I think it's very nice to hear because with how much work put into it and how long it took, and that's been I think the reaction from a lot of people. So I'm happy. But thank you.
Let's talk about the work because, as you mentioned before, Greg, before we recorded, this was a long time in the making.
Yeah. So it did take a long time. You said talk about the work.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Let me think about this. I think what's interesting actually about sort of the good and the bad and the ugly of making this record is we actually wrote the music very fast. We wrote the songs in about a year. It was like a calendar year of time. But I think the engineering of the record, producing the record, we recorded the songs a couple of times, took some cracks at some songs from a production level, engineering level a few times. And of course, COVID hit at the same time. So in some ways, I think we got extra time to do this because music wasn't happening for a while, but it's certainly it was a unique challenge, I think. And Will, feel free to speak on that as well.
Sure, yeah. I'm going to supplement what you're saying. It's going to sound like I'm disagreeing, but I'm not. I'm saying a yes and here about the writing of the songs. I think, and speaking of the work of the album, what was different about this one, I think, was we really, I think, workshopped the songs in a different way, which did actually, Greg, you wrote the songs very quickly, but there was a period of pre-production that I think we went through that was different from before. And I think a lot of it was because, necessitated by the fact that, we weren't working initially with engineers this time. We were setting out to do it ourselves. Didn't end up being the case, but, in the beginning that was our intention. And yeah, I think what I really liked about this was we really kind of took what we learned from really great producers and engineers we worked with in the past, like Drew Thompson Hook and the guys at Kennedy Studio, who we did end up working with again, but to really sort of apply that kind of thinking to our own music. And what I mean by that is take a second look at things, question our own assumptions about what really hits the hardest. And I think we also, in that way, developed a little bit more trust in each other's songwriting abilities along the way, and led to our own personal songwriting development. So I just think maybe that's something that I might say about the album.
Can I actually add on to that again? Because you're now inspiring memories of making this. I think Will's right. It definitely, the making of this album, it made us not only, I'm trying to find the right word. I think it forced me to be very objective about what making good Western education music is, whether you consider our music pop music, alternative music, whatever. What makes that song good and what makes it its best. And for this, I want to speak purely for me. It's the first time that I made music on a computer. So I was able, I'm talking the demo process, the writing of the songs. And so I was able to throw an idea down, record it, really workshop it, and really pick apart why is this working and why is this not working. So when I end up, the songs that I wrote that I ended up shipping to the band, for their feedback, or it ended up being a process where I had gone over things many, many times to really iron stuff out before I even presented my ideas. And I think it caused not only a little bit of friendly competition, but we amped up our game.
One thing I'm getting is the real great chemistry that you guys have as a band. And I've known that for like a long time, but with this album, I feel like it may have hit like another level. So my question is, do you feel like the band really grew between this album and the work you did before?
I want Will to speak on this too, but I think something that really jumps out to me is that we really focused on, I call it like the little moments or the little hooks where because you like it, you may not notice it's there, but if I were to make it different, you'd think something is wrong. For example, there are so many moments where at the end of a section, the drums are playing the same rhythm that I'm singing. And so it feels like it's very purposeful, like that's because it is, or like it's very planned, or we really thought about all the little themes and all the little parts and how they need to work together. And I think that started happening during the demo process. And even when we re-recorded songs a couple of times, you start noticing some stuff. Oh, hey, we could play this little bit together, or we could play off each other in this way, and it is going to make it that much better. It's just that attention to detail of all the little stuff.
I agree. Like the attention to detail is one thing I would agree with there, Greg. I guess to my own answer would be in terms of how we grew. When you listen to our previous albums, I think there's a lot of playing. To quote Greg, he likes to say, "There's a lot of playing happening." I think one thing that we developed as musicians was to kind of hang back a little bit. All of us, I think, we really wanted to have a little bit more space in the music. We all sort of, I don't know if this was something we talked about, but maybe it just ended up being like that. For my part, I switched up my bass playing style, and I switched up, the kind of effects and gear I was using. And really my goal was to be, less in the forefront and more in the background. I can't speak directly to everybody else, but I think like that creates more space in the whole record, having that sort of less is more sort of mentality. And I don't think we really totally got there. And I would like to see us continue in that direction to really just sort of like trim the fat. But yeah, I would say that's sort of how we grew from my view.
Yeah, I think Will is right. It's little parts coming together to form a bigger whole, for sure. And that's a lot of these tunes.
Mm-hmm. Now, as of the time of this recording, it is now July 3rd, and the album is about a week away. So when this episode is dropping, though, it is July 11th. The episode's out, the album is out on the other same day, which I really love the timing of this. But I want to ask, after all this work and all this time, how does it feel to be done?
That is a really funny question. I've actually been talking to people about this the past week or two. To me, it feels very normal because we've been putting out music from the album for a year. So it's not like, we've had this long ramp up and no one's heard any of the record and, oh my God, is anyone going to like it? And, oh my God, what are we going to do? We put 6 singles out, like one single every 8 weeks for a year. So, folks have heard a lot of the big tunes from the record. And sure, people are going to hear the album for the first time starting on the 11th, or going to hear Western Ed for the first time. There's going to be those folks. But it's kind of business as normal. Like, Will, how do you feel about this?
Well, I mean, for you, it's definitely a different answer and a different perspective because, there were different stages of the album that we all worked on. And I think you were the one to sort of finalize everything. So to you being done is probably a lot different of a feeling than to me being done because my parts ended such a long time ago. And now such a long time ago that we are now like releasing songs. A couple of the singles on the new album are songs that have been heard before, either through live or actually have been released. And it's just kind of the way it is because it's been so long in the making. So I'm just really interested to hear new fans' perspectives on that because I don't know, it kind of feels like the album isn't really done. It's done, but we're like the promoting and productization of it and making sure everyone hears it and like then getting that fresh experience from, new people on music that I've listened to for years and, put down and picked up over that amount of time just to hear that. So that's kind of my long rambling answer to that is just sort of like how does it feel to be done? It's like sort of this ongoing thing. I guess once the album is out and people are listening to it, and there's been a few weeks, and we're working on thinking about what's next for us, maybe that's when it'll feel done.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, there's more work to be done. I maybe what I mean is maybe I'm less nervous than I thought I would be, just because we've been rolling out for so long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, this is your sophomore album, so it is, you've done it before, and I think you're a lot better at it. Like whether it's like your music, but also I think in how you promote. Like you have a strategy for your socials, the press tour, the shows, all that jazz. So I imagine there is some level of familiarity to this.
It's kind of a combination of having done this before, and then we're also like both kind of doing it in our day-to-day jobs. So we picked up what we know along the way. And yeah, I'll throw it over to you, Greg.
Sure. Yeah, I think. I mean, this is like Greg puts on the business suit and tie answer, but a lot of this album is like Will and I did a lot of work with advertising in different places. How do you reach the right fans? Like, what kind of music fans are going to like this music and this record? It's as much as I want it to be everybody, you have to reach the right people. And sometimes you only have 3 to 8 seconds. You try to capture as many people as possible. And it's kind of like maybe like the unsung, I don't know if it's the unsung or like not the dirty part of doing this, but it's a lot of business suit stuff, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot of emails. It's a lot of advertising. It's a lot of targeting. It's a lot of making 26-second videos that people will, hopefully click a link on. It's a lot of that, but it's all incredibly important.
Oh, it really is vital. Like you cannot just make an album and put it out there. There's a whole lot of work to do. But let us talk about the music now. So as you mentioned earlier, you have been releasing singles for a while. You did 6 back in 24, Catherine, What Have You Done, Madeline in the Hurricane, Coat of Arms, among others. What was the strategy there?
Will, do you mind if I start and then you can piggyback on this?
Yeah, it's all you, man.
So it's interesting. So let's go back to the spring of 2024. We were discussing, okay, this beast is finally done, like holy shit. But now we have to roll it out the right way to make sure, we want to make sure it gets its due and it gets the most exposure possible. And so I remember we were sitting in my condo and we were saying, okay, do we do 2 singles, 3 singles, 4? Like, what do we do? And I remember we landed on an answer that was, let's put out 3 and see how it goes. But what happened a few months later was George called me, actually, and he said, dude, like if we only do 3 singles, it's going to put the record out in January, and that's a bad idea. Like, with New England snow, and we want to do an album show, and you don't want to have to fight with the weather and cancellations, and we may want to go for 6 and do a whole year. And so that's what we ended up doing. Unless, Will, do you have any more? That's how I remember this happening.
I mean, the conversation was, how many, which ones. And I think what the interesting thing was the way we ended up choosing which singles. And we just were kind of like crowdsourced it a little bit.
Yes, that's
so
right.
That was pretty funny. I don't know. That'll be an interesting one to retrospect on to see how well that does.
I forgot.
But I ultimately think it's
that happened.
good.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no. I think that'll be. I think it was interesting. We sort of did the Ouija board single release.
Sure.
But I liked it. My part in that was really, I had, we all had our opinions on which songs and how many. I am ultimately glad that we chose sort of like this waterfall strategy of like the 6. I think it was 6.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that's advantageous. And, if you're releasing a big album, you might as well get the most out of it.
Right.
Especially in this day and age.
I forgot we did that. I think I called it focus grouping.
Yeah, it was. Sort of focus groups it.
Yeah. So I kind of had, I find this interesting. Listeners might. I kind of had in my brain the 4 singles were going to be the 4 massive anthems, right? It's going to be Catherine, Coat of Arms, New Dawn, and Millennial Youth, the title track. But just to check my math, I sent the record to, I don't even know, between 50 and 100 people, and a combination of people. Like maybe you're just a music fan who likes alternative music. Some of my friends who are more music content makers, YouTubers, folks in the press. And I said to them, I'm not going to say anything about what I think the single should be. If songs jump out to you, you tell me what they are. And what I think is very interesting is that they were exactly in alignment with what we wanted to do, but there was one surprise, which was the most popular song during feedback testing was Madeline in the Hurricane by a lot. It seems like almost everybody picked that song and without me asking. And so that was the one change, I think, to my calculus at least, was, yeah, people like the four bangers, and that's not surprising. But having we ended up doing Separate as well, which is another ballad. But I did not expect that response to the last song on the album, and I did not expect to make it a single at all. But it was so popular during testing that I'm glad we did. That's why you do it.
Yeah, and I can see why, because Madeline in the Hurricane is a powerful song, especially once you once you like into it and what it's all about. That one really got to me. But I'm curious about the other topics that you kind of covered with the music and the rest of the album.
Sure. Yeah, hit me. Do you have questions? Or you want me to just tell you?
No, just tell me, man. All you.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. I'm laughing because this album is really fun unless you're me. So I guess putting joking to the side, like a lot of serious stuff on this record, a lot of, I would say, urgent topics that I feel like a lot of folks either work through or challenged with. But I think it's called Millennial Youth, and I think there are, in terms of like millennial issues, a lot of stuff we covered. Like, okay, like I'll just run through it. Like Irony Kids, gun violence, politics. New Dawn, like perhaps folks our age not voting and not being active, that kind of stuff. I mean, and Catherine, what have you done is self-harm, very tricky topic. Or like, Madeline is, losing loved ones to cancer. Like, or okay, Will, I mean, it's not funny, but Feel Nothing, that's you writing about us getting nuked, right? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh my God.
It's another interesting one because like the record's coming out now, but when we started writing a lot of this, we were like younger. And there was sort of that COVID barrier too, where we started writing it before COVID. And then after COVID, I don't know about y'all, but I felt just super old after COVID.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden, like these songs are sort of like bringing them out into the world to release them. And now like a lot of these topics that we were talking about, they're not obsolete. They're definitely still there, but they're like they feel different now. They're just like it's like, okay, literally we started writing this during the first Trump administration, and then we start releasing it during the second Trump administration after that barrier. So like a lot of the stuff, I don't know, like there's nothing explicitly political on the album, but like a lot of the stuff of our time, I feel like has a different flavor, whatever that might mean to you. I don't think we really tried to be about anything specific. And yeah, there are some specific songs on there that are about like millennials issues. Like there's a song called Millennial Youth that song's about sort of having to be out in the world and find your way without really knowing what the hell you're doing and feeling like you haven't really been like shown how or like prepared for like the shit that's out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was written back then, but now it's like I'm old now and I'm still kind of feeling that way.
Dude,
so it's an interesting one to come back to. And I'm definitely interested if we get younger fans, which I hope we do, if you're like a younger person who resonates with this music, I would be interested to know how that, resonates with you, if any of these topics hit you in the same way, or if you're experiencing the same thing, or some different interpretation. I don't know. I've never actually have someone like interpret my song back to me, so that would be cool.
Dude, like it's one of these, like it's not, how do I put this? A lot of lyrics I write are it's kind of a juxtaposition kind of thing, where like I am gonna sing kind of tongue-in-cheek lyrics about stuff that is not funny. You know what I mean? And I think it's one of these things where Will is right. Like we wrote this album, in the 2017, 2018 era. And then, but it's being released now, and it's like, oh my God, here we fucking go again. Beep, sorry. Like these topics they're back. It's still happening.
We didn't mean this to happen.
It's very, very like, timely now, isn't it? It's like,
I hate how I love and hate how timely it is. You know what I mean? I wish we weren't struggling with all these things, but unfortunately, this album is now extremely timely. Oops! Like, oh no,
you're welcome. I guess.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I want to know if you have a favorite song from this album, or one that you think is the most, maybe like a personal connection to you, or the most like impactful to you.
I'll go ahead and this one because this one's going to make Greg laugh. But I think actually, let me just kind of run through it mentally to make sure that I'm not going to say like later, oh, that was the wrong answer. No, I'm pretty much right on this. I think "Separate" is probably one of my favorites on the album, and I advocated it for it to be the first single. And I argued strongly that it should be because I wanted to just sort of come out with, because it's not this, it's a ballad, like Greg said, it's not the same as our other songs, but it's also not the same as something we've done. And it has that sort of spare element to it that I was referring to earlier of like less is more. I barely play. There's some toms. It's mostly a showcase for vocals and like the arrangement and the lushness of it. And I thought it would be fun to come up with that one out of the gate just to mess with people. I'm glad we did what we did, but I just think that's probably my favorite on the record because it's just so cool and unique.
Do you know what's funny about that answer, Max? I will give you my answer, but "Separate" was the worst demo, dude. Like it was, but by that I mean like it was like it took a lot of like me redoing my own work. Like I mean, like it was the worst sounding. I'm like, man, like how is the real version going to come together? Like how are we going to do this? And it ended up being, like Will said, like the most lush, the most open, it's almost like, I'll spoil the track order, but Coat of Arms ends, Separate comes on, and you're like, oh, you get like one little like breather because the album has such a pace and it is kind of unrelenting at times. But I think what's so funny about Separate, dude, like there are during, the demo process and pre-production process, that was one of a few songs where I'm like, man, like I don't know how we're gonna make this like quote unquote sound like good professional level, and that took a lot of doing. It was one of the ones where I was more surprised, at how well it came together. But anyway,
I'm surprised we ended up never taking out those stick clicks.
Oh my god, yeah, hell yeah, dude. Where it's just a heartbeat and stick clicks, that rocks. I think, Max, to answer your question, I think for me, Catherine, What Have You Done is, I think, I don't want to sway fans' opinions. I think it's the best one. There's a lot of music stuff in that really gets me going. I can give you as little or as many details as you want. I think there are some lyrics in there that when I look at the rhyme scheme, I have a hard time singing this because it hurts, not vocally. It just hurts my feelings, but I'm like, oh man, like this is like a rough one to get through. And it's one of these where sometimes I look at that song and I'm like, oof. But anyway, blah, blah, blah. I think it's one of those, like, it's really fun unless you're me, but that's my answer.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, Greg, actually. I do think Catherine, What Have You Done is my personal favorite. I think it's very impactful. You can hear the emotional connection. Sad to say, I think it reaches a lot of people in different ways. Been in dark spots. We have been in low points, and I think there's certain parts like, yep, I can relate to that in some way.
Yeah, I think, oh man, I remember there were many conversations that I think I actually had with Devin, where we were talking about like making the ads and the advertisements for that song. And I'm like, dude, we got to be really careful because we have to treat this as a very urgent and delicate issue. And I'm not making fun of her. You know what I mean? This is not some like breakup song where I'm like deriding this woman from my life. And like, we have to be very careful.
Yeah, this isn't Toto.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think, long story short, what's funny too, I'll give you a little tidbit. Catherine was the first song that was contributed to this album. It was the first demo. I guess a little inside info. So Catherine, WSB, and Tycoon were the first songs I sent to Will all in a little bundle. This is actually interesting to me. I was going through my Google Drive the other day, and I found my first Catherine phone demo from 2016. Like, it was before I had a computer to, like, record music. It was me, like, playing the intro theme and hitting my thigh like the snare drum. And it's a phone recording of me doing that. So
tell me you still have that.
Oh, I do. I absolutely have it. Yeah.
Oh my God, that has to be some kind of like a bonus track release someday.
Or it's me like humming the siren and hitting my knee.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That works.
It's gonna be on our version of Master Plan.
There we go. There we go. Okay. Now this album has 13 tracks on it, but I'm guessing you started with probably more.
Not really.
Really?
Actually,
wow.
Will can comment on this. This album, I only want to speak for myself. I was very objective about what songs I was going to show to the band that I wrote. And if I thought, here's Greg's songwriting mantra. If I don't like it, I am not going to send it to you because because if I were to send it to you and hope you like it, I would be looking for your validation, which is not good. And that's not objective. So I think out of the 13 songs on this album, I think we only had 16 demos. Unless Will has any, I think it was 16.
I know I had one that didn't make it on, and maybe you had two.
Wow.
It's something like that. It was very tight, dude. Like it was, I did not show songs to the band unless I already knew that this is a high percentage chance it was going to hit.
Yeah, because normally it's like, oh, we had like 30 and we got like 12 out of that. But wow.
No.
Okay. Are those three, do you think they're just gone for good? Do you think they might get like a retooling or a re-release?
Do you know what's funny? If Will has a comment on this, he can speak it. I also have another Greg mantra where if it's fun to sing, I'm the singer, I know saying this, so haha. But if it's fun to sing, you got to finish it. Like you got to keep trying it. There's one demo where this one chorus, or I guess pre-chorus technically, is very fun to sing. And there's almost like a little audience chant along. And I don't know what to do with it. It may come at some point. But like, if it wasn't fun to sing, I didn't show it to the band, I didn't finish it, I moved on. So from my perspective, maybe there's one, but that's what I got.
Yeah, I mean, of the ones that I'm thinking of, there's definitely one that I can see us doing for sure. I think we both liked it. It just didn't pass muster with everybody because there are other members of the band too. I think next time, I think it could do it. You know, it's also a question of what goes with all the other songs on the record too.
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my like. There's one I can see definitely us doing in the future.
Yes, you know what? 15 out of 16 were hits. We did a good job. Next.
I mean, I don't see why
that's
we can't.
Not bad at all. That's not bad at all.
It's definitely like an interesting question. I don't see why we can't like do any other song. I mean, you know, we've done songs that we've done only live or have forgotten over time. You know, we're really not afraid of like trying them out. We don't necessarily keep things in the vault.
All right. Now, of course, we have to talk about your upcoming release show. This is happening at the Taft Music Hall on July 25th, 8 p.m. And you'll be performing the album in its entirety, which I got to say, I love that. And opening acts will be Professor Caffeine and the Insecurities. Awesome band name. I love that one, too. What do you think it's going to be like to just be like performing this thing back to back the whole way through?
I think for me, like, dude, it might be an emotional day for me up there.
I'm sure.
I think I got to try to keep it together. Where this album was years in the making, dude, there is, oh my God, like the good and the bad and the ugly of making this dude, there are moments of me just like laying on my floor. Like, dude, I don't know if this is ever going to come out. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever going to hear this. And so I think getting up there and okay, like back when we wrote this, we did play a few of them live. But doing the whole thing from front to back in front of, it is going to be a very good crowd in there. The show has done well already, so I'm very happy. I'm going to have to keep it together up there a little bit and kind of focus. You know what I mean? Don't let it like be emotional. Make sure it's fun. It's for them. Crowd's here.
Yeah.
So, Will, do you have anything for this?
I mean, yeah, we've been working on it for so long. My feeling on it coming up, you know, as it approaches is like, it's when you're up there, like every show, it's just going to go by so quick. It just flashes by, and before you know it, you're done. You're playing the last note. We're going to play, you know, that whole album. I'm really looking forward to it, and I really want to savor like every moment of that, and I'm excited for that. I hope it's not, you know, I'm looking forward to more after that. But yeah, like up on stage, you know, it just, when you're up there playing, it blasts, you blink and you miss it. And so it's important to really enjoy that. If you get the opportunity to do it ever, just drink it up and just revel in that, because it's life-giving.
Mm-hmm. Who did the cover art? Because this is really amazing stuff here.
This is a good West Ed fact, where we were tossing around the name Millennial Youth for our first album in 2014, but there was not a consensus on us using it in the band. So it was brought up in 2014. We went with Let Your Secrets Out instead. And then in 18, 19 is when we decided on this. So we're going way back here. Jeff LaChance is his name.
Like the cover art's almost like regal. I feel like it's like a very like professional, formal thing. It's kind of like, this is us, Western Ed.
Yeah, I almost wanted to self-title this thing, but yeah, I just that is that's sort of the intense, the new version of us, and like the most definitive statement of us at the
Yeah.
current moment.
There's some funny there's some funny band stories about the title too, but I won't keep going. If
Yeah, we did come upon it like just sort of ironically, and
Dude.
that sort of no, wait, we didn't.
Wait,
We knew
wait,
about the
should
title,
we-
but the
should we tell it or
Yes.
Max, should I go
think you
okay.
absolutely should tell it.
Will, this is actually one of my favorite Will and Greg specific stories.
Yeah.
I remember we were tossing around this idea for doing Millennial Youth as the title. Keep in mind, this is 2018. And I remember, I think this was in a Facebook Messenger chat. Will said to me, if we're going to call this Millennial Youth, we might as well call this Irony Kids. And so what happened was I was like, huh, I think we should, in my brain internally, I'm like, huh, that's really funny, but that's also a really good idea. So I ended up writing that song Irony Kids because Will kind of made fun of the Millennial Youth title. I sent Will Irony Kids, and then he immediately sends me back a wave file called Millennial Youth. And I'm like, he's being a comedian, right? Like he probably just downloaded Irony Kids and like changed the title and sent it back to me. But no, that is not what happened. Will wrote the title track and sent it back to me. And so I think what happened was like we had some conversation about the album title, and however we felt about it, it ended up inspiring me to write a song and for him to write a song. And it's the fucking title track. And it all came together, dude.
Yeah. Burst of inspiration.
Right. And Irony Kids is the opening track. And I think what's so awesome is like we already had the other songs. We already had Catherine and Coat of Arms and New Dawn, but we didn't have the thesis statement, right? We didn't have Millennial Youth, and we didn't have an opener. And then it came from that conversation. I don't know. I find that very fun.
Serendipitous.
Yes.
That is an amazing story. I love that. All right, well, folks, we are coming down to the end of this conversation, but I want to ask, how does Millennial Youth, how do you feel it's going to inform your next project?
Oh, I know. Oh, Will, is it okay if I start?
Yeah, go. If you got something, go.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
For me, I think I am just so hyper-focused on the sort of the thesis statement we made with Millennial Youth and playing smaller but coming together as a bigger whole. I think it's just gonna. I don't want to spoil any new music, but I am so focused. I'm like doubling in my efforts to be even more objective, to cut even more fat, to be even more, straight ahead and to the point, and really hammering down on musical themes and how they work into the song. And long story short, like I foresee us going even Will was touching on it earlier, like doing even better of a job with that mantra we took on this record. Will, but I don't want to speak for you, but go ahead.
No, I think that pretty much sums it up for me. I guess the only thing I'd add from a personal standpoint, during the making of this record, I spent a lot of time in the wilderness and just working on material of my own and working on material for other people and just really developing my own sensibilities. So, who knows how that's going to result for new Western education music. But yeah, I've spent a lot of time practicing and working just on my own personal stuff. I worked on an album with my sister Molly. She's an artist called Moon Cup XL. If you want to hear that, it's definitely different than Western education. But yeah, I'm excited to take all that learning and apply it to this band. I'm excited to see where that'll take us.
Yep, just more learning in the pursuit of getting better.
All right. Well, we are going to end this as we always do by asking you what's next.
Okay. So what's next for Western Education? The album release show is July 25 at Taffeta in Lowell. That's the big one. And I think for us, like Will said earlier, all this work leading up to the record, it's not out yet. So I think when the record comes out, it's even more, we got to get it into the most people's hands that we can, get it into the right, the right listeners, keep finding the audiences. And I guess spoiler for the crowd, like I got plenty of songs and tricks sort of in my, up my sleeve for the next one. So Western Ed has plenty of juice and more to come.
Well, folks, that will bring this episode to a close. Will, Greg, thank you so much for joining me. It's been just like a lot of fun talking about the album. I listened to it, I think, like 4 or 5 times now. And I love it. This is an absolutely
Awesome.
amazing
Wow.
collection of music. Yeah, it really is hard to pick a favorite, but yeah, this is just a wonderful album, folks. As you're listening to this episode, the album has just been dropped. Go check it out. Let us know, what's your favorite song? Is it Catherine? What have you done? Irony, Kids, Separate? Let us know in the comments. Post to the socials. We want to hear it.
Hell
And
yeah.
of course, on the 25th of July at Taft Music Hall in Lowell, show kicks off at 8 p.m. The album in its entirety, along with Professor Caffeine and the Insecurities.
And the Ghouls.
And the Ghouls. Yes, the Ghouls. I forgot about that. Sorry about that, Ghouls. You're awesome.
Shout out to the Ghouls.
Exactly. Western Ed Rock is the place to go. You start off there, you get the music, you get the merch, so much more to check out. And as we bring this thing to a close, we are going to leave you with the title track, Millennial Youth, and we'll see you all next time.
Pack my bag, last good night in bed, not coming back this time. Kiss my mom and dad goodbye, tell them that it's all a lie. Trust in me, you don't need, you've replaced it once before. Now young man, you're out the door, could no longer be ignored. Now I'm denied these angry eyes, I've lost belief I will survive. There is no sign, just close your eyes and drive headlong into real life this time. Too late, millennial. Oh, good times are over on your own. So I let go, so I let go. 10 years gone, had the upper hand, walked the beaten path, just to feel abandoned was my plan. It worked and now I'm grown. Tell me if it's not too late to care, to be forever young with life to spare. Will you ever let me leave oblivion? Now I'm denied these angry eyes, I've lost belief I will survive. There is no sign, just close your eyes and drive headlong into real life this time. Too late, millennial. Oh, good times are over on your own. So I let go, so I let go. Too late, millennial. Oh, good times are over on your own. So I let go, so I let go. Too late, millennial. Oh, good times are over on your own. So I let go, so I let go. Too late, millennial. Oh, good times are over on your own. So I let go, so I let go.
And with that, we bring this episode to a close. Thanks for listening, and if you haven't already, check us out on Facebook under Citywide Blackout, and Twitter and Instagram under Citywide Max. You can catch this and all your favorite episodes on your favorite podcast platform, and new episodes are added every week, as well as on Boston Free Radio every Saturday at 10 p.m. You get at me at citywidemax@yahoo.com if you want to suggest a guest, submit your music, or just drop us a line. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.